Hi, welcome to the garden. I'm so thankful that you are here to help us water the garden this summer. This Edmonds Heights garden would not be kept alive without you. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you quickly where the key is, because the key for the watering system is the first thing you're going to need to know about. So it's over here in this black container, and when you first come in, you're just going to come right here to this box and open it up and get everything you need out of it. So the first thing you'll grab is the key, and we've left this tape on it so it's real obvious. You'll also notice in this bucket there are some other tools. If your family would like to use gloves or any tools at all, you're welcome to just access them, and then please just make sure to put them back in here. You may find that when you're here at the garden you may need to tie something up if it's falling over. There are some cords in here and some things you can use like scissors to cut things, or kind of hold up any plants that need holding. So here we go. Got our key. We're ready to go for watering. All right, we've got our key. So you're going to notice that only two ends of this key jobby hook into the hose here. So to turn the water on, you're going to go lefty-loosey, and this one is a real fun friend and sometimes sprays all over the place, so just be aware of it, especially when you turn it off. So you're going to turn it all the way on. I have a new hose head here. I tend to pull as much of this hose out as I possibly can. It's really helpful if you have a kiddo helping you out to be kind of a hose monitor, but generally speaking, it's really great to have an adult doing at least part of the hose work, just because we don't want to squash any plants on our journey here. So this is kind of the first step, is getting the hose out, making sure this is off, and then I can get to town with my water in. So if you have kiddos with you, this is a really great opportunity for them to go ahead and have a job. So the first thing you're going to do with this fresh water you've got is fill up a couple of watering cans. And so you're just going to, there are different watering cans here, so you're welcome to use any of the ones you want. But these are going to be great to fill up all of our blue pots that we have in our courtyard here, as well as some of the sunflowers that are a little bit harder to reach. Making sure that we teach kids that we always want to water at the base. And so really about as much as a kid can hold, which is a little less than a full watering can, is about the right amount for one of these pots. So I've got my watering can ready to go, and I'll just turn my hose right off and send a kiddo out to do the watering in the pot. And I'll just have them do each of those as a special job for them. So if you do not have a kiddo with you and you want to just go ahead and water those yourself, of course you'll drag the hose. I find it's easiest to drag the hose all the way over there first, and then I kind of work my way back into the courtyard. All in this puppy, it can get pink, which is a real pain, like it just did right there. But that's okay. You'll just unpink it and then go to town. So when we are doing this watering job, kind of one of the most important things for us to do is make sure that we actually need to water. So when you're coming up to the garden and you're looking at the pot or any of our garden containers, you're going to take your finger and reach into that soil. If it feels damp, and you're going to go up to your first knuckle, if it feels damp and like, oh wow, it looks like this got watered pretty well, maybe by Aaron Zaki last night, it probably doesn't need to be watered again. So you get to just hang out here and then go home. Maybe harvest some, wonderful lettuce we have in our garden right now. But if it feels pretty dry and you go to it and you think, this needs to be watered, then you're going to make sure to water the plants at their base. So you're going to want to just turn this little guy on, watering it down low as best you can. So these pots don't need a ton. They certainly don't need much of any right now. So then I'm going to go ahead and pop on over to our big container. So again, I'm going to make sure that I know this planter is really needing watering. Once I know that it needs watering, I'm going to go ahead and kind of either put a timer on my phone or have a nice peaceful counting moment in my head and count to at least about 60 to 100 to make sure that everything gets real saturated. We have been doing kind of this kind of watering with kids, but now that these plants are more established, we want to make sure to water them by their roots. So I'm going to turn this on all the way, water all of these friends by their roots, making sure I really get as much as I can. In more densely populated beds, we know it's kind of harder to get down in there under the roots, down at their base, but do the best you can. This is pink again, somewhere. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we're watering the whole garden. So if this is a job you need to divide up in your family, that might be an option. But I would go ahead and make sure you're giving a good amount of time to each bed, and if you want to set a timer for yourself, a minute or two is plenty, and you're going to go around and make sure you're getting, especially friends like these sunflowers, a good soaking at their base. And after you've done this whole section of the garden, you're going to move on over to the inner courtyard space. That sound good? All right. Okay. So when you come on into this courtyard space, I usually work from this outside in. And this wonderful garden that we planted on behalf, thanks to Snohomish Conservation District, is just looking gorgeous. So we've got Farewell to Spring is the name of this flower. Somebody needs to help me identify this one that the bees are in love with right now. But we're going to make sure to give all of these friends a good soak. So we're just going to come around watering everything here. This purple one is Nodding Onion. You and I were just talking about how much we love it. It's super beautiful. Ugh. and then we're going to come through and come on over here. So in this garden we have a real fun hodgepodge of what the kids have done. All right, so as we come into the courtyard garden, we're going to make sure that we are watering at the base. This is a fig here, and as I'm watering, and I have it on kind of a lower pressure, I want to water for at least about 30 seconds, making sure to get all around the roots and that the water is not just, you know, dissipating, that we're making sure that we're giving it a nice solid soak. You could even come back to these if you wanted to do one soaking and then come back. I'm going to let the hose go for a minute, but talk you through some of the plants that are here in our garden that we need to water, because we certainly don't need to water plants that have been here for a while and that are well established and adapted to this summer climate. So you'll notice that we have some wonderful blueberries here. We definitely want to make sure to water those friends. This is a newer one from last summer, rock rose, I believe. Another blueberry. We have the Russian sage over here, the red currant. You can water in here. You'll notice a couple little baby fern and a rhubarb. And then it's awfully fun for the kids too to fill up the bird bath. And there are some other little friends in here, a little onion. You know, there are some funny things in here that kids had fun planting, so you never quite know. We have the Indian plum, I just forgot, Tina, what is it?
Indian? And this is not Indian plum?
No, this is the Indian plum, and then this is
I don't know what that guy is.
bay leaf.
Oh,
and then
awesome.
This is the blueberry. We've got a little lettuce here that we'll probably just be harvesting. Another blueberry and some sunflowers that might not be bad to have kids watering. And over here we have a couple blueberries on the edge, and these sunflowers that are all back here, also a really great kid job, or a good watering at the base. It's a little tricky to get to those ones in the very back, but they're kind of all along the back here. Over in this part of the garden, I tend to water this one over here, the salal that we planted. These sticks are Indian plum. I'm not sure how well they're doing. Might not have to worry about them too long. But you'll want to water all of this. And this might be a case where you're going to come around with the hose that like half of this garden, and then you'll go back and come to this half. Otherwise it gets kind of tangly, and you get in a really precarious position of maybe knocking over some garden totems, so you want to be real careful with the hose. This is ocean spray, this plant right here. Also the sticks, but I don't know if they're going to make it, so we won't worry about that too much. And all of this over here.
Well, over here we have hostas and kale.
pastas and kale and huckleberries and lettuces and peas and all sorts of things that are growing up. Yeah, it's super fun. Over here we have a couple little ferns, and actually some kids have planted some radishes in here. So those can be taken care of as well, and we'll see what happens. You're here in the garden and you're wondering about watering some of these more established plants. Don't. These have been planted years ago, and they've established themselves with pretty deep root systems. We don't need to worry about watering these. So all these bigger grasses, these bigger ferns over here, really don't need to water everything. So really the newer plants are what we're focusing on here. Thank you. So I wanted to make sure I tell you a little bit about harvesting. So one of your jobs when you come up here to water is to also harvest. So we don't want to leave things unharvested this season. So I know things are going to change, but right now we have some snow peas that we're going to harvest. So we're going to always use 2 hands. So we're going to hold the plant with one hand, and we're going to harvest with the other hand so that we don't rip the whole plant out of the ground in an effort to harvest. So same goes for any kind of greens. And right now we have a lot of kale and lettuces ready to harvest. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest a little bit of this kale, holding it with one plant. I'm using my fingernail to harvest, but you can certainly send kids around with a pair of scissors as well. Some scissors and some bags to put your produce are going to be in that same black bin you got the key out of, but you're welcome to bring a basket and some scissors for yourself and your family if you want to. All right, so now that you've got the main garden taken care of and the courtyard garden taken care of, you're ready to move on over to what we call the play space garden. And so I'm going to take my key from the other hose and head on over here to this hose, which has some different features, and you're going to want to really pay attention to those. So same 2 sides of the hose, the 2 bigger ends, either one of them will work. You're going to turn it all the way to the left, and again, we don't need to water it today, so I'm going to fake demo for you. But my strategy with this hose is I get the whole hose. I use my Wonder Woman muscles and undo the whole hose. And instead of yanking on this whole thing, which can get broken, I take the whole hose out before I head all the way over to the corn and the sunflowers and the items over here on the far fence. So I get the hose all the way undone from the hose jobby thing. I go all the way over here. And I work my way back. So I water all this. Giving it as much of a low watering as I can, but I'm not super worried about these friends because they were all bonus plants. So, you know, do what you can. But over here, just to note, we have sunflowers on the edge of the fence, and corn and beans here in the middle of this little section. And then we have some oregano. If you ever want to harvest some oregano, go to town. Lemon balm and more oregano. So that's what's kind of bonus plants over here. This pot has cucumbers in it, and they're doing quite well. And I can tell that they're pretty well soaked. This little pot holds water pretty well, so you don't maybe need to give them a ton of water. This friend over here is super packed. You can tell that kids really had fun planting this bed. So we have some tasty greens. These are ready to harvest right now. We have nasturtiums and sunflowers and, I don't remember what this is, like cabbage? No. You remember what that is? Brussels sprouts?
Broccoli.
Broccoli?
I don't know.
Cauliflower? Anyway. Oh, and a ladybug. And some chard and there's like peas hiding in here. I mean, it's like everything in one container. Right. This sensory bed you're going to give a little soaking to. And this is fun to touch and smell and feel, all these friends. And then you can give this one. You'll notice these ones will drain, so you can tell when they're really well watered. I come around with the hose to the back side. I go then straight through the middle. Getting these friends over here. Strawberries and nasturtiums. All those guys. I should make a special note about this bed and as well. There's some friends in here too. But we have a really special potato in these 2 beds. They're called Ozette potatoes. They're an ancient potato. We have to be kind of careful with them. So if you see any funkiness going on with these leaves. We won't be harvesting these potatoes until the fall. But if they have any kind of funkiness going on, please just let us know right away. Either contact myself or Sophia and maybe take a picture. Because if they get any, it's called a tobacco disease, and if they get any of that on there, we have to discard them immediately because they're kind of a very special crop. Also in here we have onions. You're not going to probably be harvesting a ton from here this summer. This bed over here has some more of those potatoes, as well as a ton of sunflowers and there's some carrot in here and some lettuces. These are ready to harvest. And some peas and chard. It's like another everything bed. So this one may be hard to get in there and water at the ground level, but we'll do the best we can. So you are here at the end of your journey and making sure that you turn off the water. Oh my gosh, we will get in so much trouble if we don't turn off the water. But here's the scary thing. This hose, this one, is a real fun one to turn off because it's almost always like a fireworks show. Ah! And inevitably you will probably get wet, so that's fun. Anyhow, thank you for making sure that once you've turned off and wound up both hoses that you put this here friend back in this bucket so that then, and close the lid so that the next family is ready to go with their watering job. Thank you!